Asia Pop 40.
Hello, ladies and gents, boys and gals. Yes, here on Asia Pop 40, we are about to have a little chat with one of my favorite singer-songwriters. And he is a one-man musical project. His music, it's always uplifting. Even if he writes about heartbreaks, I think the melodies should put a smile on your face. And today we'll be speaking with Harry Lloyd, Waiting for Smith. Hello, Harry. It's good to see you again.
Joey, it's an absolute pleasure to see you, man.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
It's been a year and a half, I think. The last time we spoke was May of 2020, and we went through a lot in the last year and a half.
Yeah. How's your year and a half been? What's been the highlight and the downfall of your last year and a half?
Because we're on an island, so everything has been relatively under control. But are you in the UK right now, currently?
I'm in London at the moment, yeah. Normally in Amsterdam, which has been amazing. I did the first, I think we spoke, it was the first lockdown, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the first one just before everything started.
Yep.
And that was in the UK. I was in Oxford for that, which was great. Surrounded by loads of instruments and just like out in the sticks. And then I decided when we could travel again to go to Amsterdam, try it out, see what it was like. And I was like, I love this so much, I'm never going to leave. So I decided, I got my residence thing there as well. So I have a Dutch ID card, but I'm always based between London and Amsterdam.
Nice.
And when I can travel, I come back to London. So it's the best of both worlds. I fell in love with Amsterdam. It's a beautiful place with very happy people. I think one of the things that really attracted to me about it was the fact I had a conversation probably 3-4 months in from being there with a bus driver. And he was like, yeah, how are you doing? How's your day? And we had this great chat. And he really seemed happy to be driving his bus and doing what he was doing. And it just gave me this feeling of like, well, if a place is doing what they love, it breeds this kind of joy. You know, people are just happy to be there, whether they're driving a bus or they're going to the office or, you know, whatever they do for a living. And when you're kind of surrounded by that, it's addictive. Yeah. And I felt that maybe that wasn't so much the case in London.
I was just gonna say that because I haven't been to either cities, but I've always felt that, you know, Amsterdam is a happy place, and London is rainy, it's wet, people are a little depressed and a little pissy. So for you to travel between the two, I mean, sharp contrast, Harry.
I know, it's a complete opposite thing. Also, I find it quite ironic that I decided to go from the most mountainous region of France, where I was a ski instructor for 4 years, I think I told you last time, to then the flattest place in the world. I'm a man of extremes, Joey. You know? I like it. Keeps me sharp.
Good. I think contrast is what artistry is mainly based on. And just to bring people up to date, Harry was a ski instructor in the French Alps, got severely injured. Then he decided that it's time for him to pursue the greatest passion in his life, which is music. And that was, you know, what began this trip. But how do you think COVID-19 has affected your artistry in the last year and a half? Has it affected your artistry?
Yeah, of course. It's made it better.
Yeah.
Which is a strange thing to say, because I know lots of my friends in music, they were struggling in different ways. They had opportunities that suddenly weren't there anymore. And for me, I was really fortunate. The opportunities came more than ever before. So we started off stuff going into India and managed to get on a big radio station there. And then I recently just booked my first support tour of the US and Europe. And I played my biggest festival slot, Wilderness Festival in the UK, literally for like 3 weeks ago, to thousands of people who are back again enjoying live music. And so, for me, it's given me a chance really to strip everything back and go really back to what I find important, which is, being able to play all my songs by myself, solo. And then I know that if I can make it work and make it sing by myself, when I put the 7 people behind it, gospel singers, you know, drums, SPDs, bass, whatever, suddenly it will go up to another level. And I felt that one thing I hadn't absolutely really practiced of was just playing to anyone that would listen, by myself a lot. And over the period, because obviously everything was shut down, I was playing Instagram lives like 3-4 times a week. I was doing festivals, and I was talking to great people like you. And every time you have a conversation with someone that's interested in what you're doing and you're interested in what they're doing, it kind of helps you to realize something about yourself, and like, oh, that's the thing that makes me happy. Like, and so it really helped me to like readdress and to like understand, okay, this is what I've got to do for Waiting for Smith. This is the next stages. And when you know what you want, I truly believe that it finds you. It's just deciding what you want first.
I think I got a little goosebumps listening to that. There's a movie with Brad Pitt. I can't remember what it is, but I remember he said a line where it goes, if you build it, it will come to you. And I think when we listen to your music, we really feel that. Even though the latest project you dropped, it explored hopelessness, right? I mean, on the surface, that's what it does. But if you really listen to it, there's still positive. There's a lot of positivity in it. So can you tell us what is, the concept behind this project that you dropped in July?
The Hopelessness of Love EP, which was my first EP. I took my while to release it. I couldn't think of something I really wanted to like talk about enough over a range of songs. So I just kept dropping singles, just anything that I was interested in at that point. And Hopelessness of Love EP really came about quite quickly because I released a song last year called Lost in Your Light, which was inspired by doing this thing. It's an exercise called active listening. You sit opposite someone and you don't talk, you just listen to whatever they've got to say. And I did this exercise, and I remember looking the woman I love and just suddenly being like, oh my God, this is everything. This is full presence. I'm totally here in this moment. I'm not thinking about anything else, and I'm only just looking into her eyes. And it's so, I don't know if you've ever tried it with someone, but it's very intense. If you keep eye contact with someone for like 10, 15 minutes, after a while, you'll be like, this is a bit weird. This is uncomfortable. But I was so inspired by this, by just how simple that was. I went to a writing session, and I met a guy called Jan Schroeder, Dutch songwriter. And he was a guitarist for a band called The Causes for ages. And we started talking about this, and Lost in Your Light kind of came out. And we did a music video with our friends, all kind of safe distance in the wood in Amsterdam. And I just remember thinking like, oh, this feels like a really new kind of direction. This is really exploring things I'm interested in, and then kind of putting them to music. And then me and Jan just had conversations over really casual ones. We would go back and we'd meet, try to write things together. We'd have a croissant from the best French bakery in town, and we'd have a coffee, and we'd just have great talks, And after we talked for a couple of hours, we'd sit down and we'd write something. And in order, all these songs started coming out. And it was one of the main topics was really, 2 years. 2 years for a lot of people has been spending an intense amount of time with people that they never thought they would. So I don't know, you spend more time with your father than you ever have, with your sister or your friend or your partner. And suddenly it's making you ask these questions about yourself. And so every song was really about exploring the self and trying to really be the best version of yourself for the other person, and for that relationship. And Hopelessness of Love was the opening idea, about the kind of acceptance of the fact that there will be difficult times within any relationship, but it's in your power to be the best version of yourself, to then make it the best it can be. And kind of from that followed Tired Mind, which was like just a really difficult day where I was feeling really low. As I Saw You Then is about seeing someone again for the first time. When you fall in love with someone for the first time, it feels almost like a chemical reaction where you're super high from it. If you've ever experienced it before. And that song was really me and Jan thinking, okay, we're both guys who've been in a relationship. how do you reignite that thing that you first had? And then Little Old Book was inspired after reading Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love him so much. I love his thoughts and his ideas and his sense of freedom. And he wrote a list to himself before he got his first acting job of basically the things that he wanted to be. And one of them on the list, they had all the classics like, win an Oscar, and, get paid for acting, those kind of things. Yeah. And one of them on the list was be your best self. And that's a never-ending goal. You never can stop being the best version of yourself. You're always trying to see like, okay, what can I do? Yeah. And so that kind of really inspired Little Old Book, and another one called Best Side for You. But it's really all about relationships and like how we can like handle that. And I mean, so much has come out of these last 2 years. I think it's pushed people in two directions: either one, further away from trying to find out what they want and what makes them happy, or going straight to it and going, okay, I don't need to go into the office every day to be happy, and maybe I can stay at home a bit more time with my kids, more time in nature, these kind of things.
I think one of the fundamental, the core message that I heard from you really is that I've always insisted that as a radio jockey, that it's more important to listen than to speak, because you need to absorb before you can really process the information. And for a singer-songwriter, you read a lot. It's important to read before you write. And I think, I can't remember the person who said this line, and I might be paraphrasing, but the line goes, the greatest illusion about communication is that it actually took place. And the thing is, a lot of time communications don't take place. And when you're stuck at home with that person right next to you, it forces you to really look at them and listen to them. And if you're just willing to listen to them, they will usually push you to be the best version of yourself. And so even though this album, this EP, it's got hopelessness as the common thread between most of the songs, but it's really about communications, right? And we can tell through the MV of Hopelessness of Love, you use sign language, you use painting, use contemporary dancing to interpret that. And I'm guessing that's the idea behind it.
Totally that. And I've got you saying that before. I've got goosebumps you saying that, because it's so, I love that. It's such a weird feeling how our bodies also, I realized recently, they react to things. They react to truth. When you feel that something is true, why does it make you happy? Like, why does your body react to that? And I'm fascinated by it. And the whole hopelessness of love idea, although the thread is one that, it's difficult. Of course it's hard. Yeah. Of course it's difficult. But the idea came about from the music video, which was like, how do you get through to someone? How do you connect? Like you say, with most conversations, people are actually having conversations with themselves rather than the other person, because we're all coming out of our own perspective of how we see the world. Yeah. And so, it was like, how do you get through to someone? And so the guy, played by myself, is essentially saying, okay, I can write you a letter. I can get someone to interpret it in sign language. I can do subtitles across the screen. There can be a dancer trying to express what I mean, because there are all these different forms of communication. And then at the end of the music video, I walk towards the camera and kind of give the person who's meant to be the listener a hug. Yeah. Because I think one thing that I've noticed does consistently work, and not to sound like corny or anything, but is being loving, is love, is kindness. Yeah. It consistently as a tool of communication, it is so effective. Like, if you're ever having problems with someone, to really try to understand the way that they're thinking, immediately will make you go, oh, that's why they're being difficult. And then it's not a problem about you anymore. It's really turning it around and going, how can I understand that person better? As opposed to blame them, And that's something I've always been interested in. because I'm really interested in this great book that I read when I had my accident 5 years ago, when the accident that got me into music, called the Tao Te Ching.
Come again? What is it called?
It's called the Tao Te Ching.
Okay.
And it's the Tao translates as the way, and it's really a philosophy for life. And it was written 3,000 years ago.
Yep.
But the stuff still sticks. It's still the same stuff. Be kind, be present in family life, do what you love. They were saying it thousands of years ago.
Yes.
And it's now relevant, and it's coming back. And I truly think there's a wave of change happening from these last 2 years. And I choose to see it. I know people have had difficult times, but I choose to see it as a wave of goodness that's gonna bring us all closer to who we are and what we love.
I love
we want
that.
to do.
I love that. I was actually a little surprised that that's the book you referred to. The author is called Lao Tzu, I think. And I remember at the start of that book, I think he said something to the effect of, if you can explain the way, the Tao, then it's not the real Tao. And it took me so long to figure that out, Ari. What does he mean by that? So communication has many forms, many ways, and you need to figure it out. If you only had to speak it and someone could receive it, communication is too easy. It's not that easy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sometimes, I was listening to something the other guy. I'm a massive fan of Alan Watts as well. Yeah. I love his stuff. He was a 60s philosopher, 70s philosopher, and he was great friends with another writer called Aldous Huxley, and his kind of big thing was Zen Buddhism, and he says, at the beginning of his early interviews, I could sit here all day and I could explain to you what it means, how I've studied it, but let's just be quiet for a moment. Mm-hmm. And within that, you'll probably understand more than me saying it to you for the next hour. And it's something so weird. You're like, but what? And the interviewer's like, but what do you mean? I don't understand. Explain it. And we all know. That's the crazy thing that I'm starting to realize is we all kind of know what's right, and why? What is that? But if we start to listen to that intuition, I truly believe we are capable of the most extraordinary things.
Yeah. I agree. Listen to your intuition, and if you can't quite hear yourself, well, then listen to the music from Waiting for Smith for now, and see if you can't figure out what he's trying to tell you through the music. I'm sure you're going to be doing more MVs for this EP, because it seems like it's a very thematic project. So I'm guessing you're going to try to come up with EPs for all the songs from all the songs from the EP.
So I've got a new project on the go at the moment. So we had Hopelessness of Love was the music video to really wrap up the EP, and something to kind of think about visually. The next EP is called Trying Not to Try. Yeah. And there's a lyric in Long Life actually about trying not to try, which was strange. It kind of came back to me.
Really? Wait, what is that lyric?
It's just, I think the ending line is, it's a long life when you're trying not to try.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah, and the idea behind it was if you're not asking yourself do I care about life, then how are you gonna get the best out of it, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But the concept of trying not to try is also one that's interlinked with the Tao and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, which is really about sometimes we can try too hard, we get too much in our own way to find success, to find happiness. And sometimes it's about not trying, and it's about just being oh, I'm happy. Yeah. Here, I'm happy because I'm just present. I'm washing my hands. It sounds kind of stupid, but I'm washing my hands and I'm smelling the hand soap and I'm thinking, that smells great. That's happiness, right? It's so simple. Yeah. And this new EP really is about that. It's about exploring that stuff and the simple stuff and mental health. And so we're trying to do a music video for most of those new tracks. The first one, Skylight Dawn, should be out in October. Okay. Which I'm really, really excited about. Okay. Got a great music video idea for it. And then yeah, there's some other tracks following that, and they're kind of piano-led stuff, a lot of them, and yeah, some more gospel influences.
Nice.
And hopefully stuff just to, you know, bring about a few tears, but some kind of feelings of hopefulness, where you're like, okay, it might be difficult, but it's all going to be all right in the end.
Nice. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. We've come full circle and back to the idea of contrast again, right? From hopelessness to hopefulness, these two EPs, and yeah, looking forward to this next project. We're going to be trying not to try to anticipate it too much. It'll happen to us when it happens to us, Harry. Thank you so much for this very cerebral conversation. I mean, I don't know how well it's going to do for, you know, promoting the song. I don't know if people will fall asleep listening to this conversation, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly. As long as we had fun, right? Who care about the guys who are watching this?
Yeah, someone else will enjoy it too. Or maybe it'll be great listening to go to bed to.
yeah. Like a podcast that you fall asleep to. All right, so today we had a conversation with Harry Lloyd, Waiting for Smith, and we, of course, can right now listen to the whole EP, Hopelessness of Love, but Try Not to Tire is on its way, and looking forward to it. Harry, thank you so much for joining us here on Asia Pop 40.
Thank you, Joe. Cheers, man. Hey, I'm Waiting for Smith, and you're listening to Asia Pop 40.
Asia Pop 40.